What is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's privileged edition of the Dense Pixels podcast. I'm your host, Brad, joined by my lone co-host this week, Carrie.
What's up?
It is a light news week. We hope that you will, and we submitted the post office very late this week, so we hope that you all will come through.
We're doing really well.
I know it is. Look, it was Black Friday weekend this past weekend. I'm
surprised you're alive.
We all know what that means for me. There's a lot of other stuff even going on outside of just the normal run of my day job. With my day job, that caused a whole new level of stress. So, It is amazing that I am alive. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
I caught a cold.
Yeah,
from my mother-in-law.
I was following your holiday escapades on the Twitter at Suppets Carrie. So yeah,
I'm
so like I said, you got your hot tea there and your Pikachu mug and
my holiday Pikachu mug. Yeah, it's that time of year, folks.
And speaking of Pikachu, we finally have you on to give your. At this point, we can probably just call it a review.
Sure.
Of Pokemon Sword.
Because I finished the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I played Pokemon Sword. I liked it a lot, man. Like, there's a lot of things I really like about it. I love the region. I love, like, so many of the new Pokemon I just think are so fucking cool. I tried to roll with, like, as many Galar Pokemon as possible. And then a Kingler. For my friend Sean, I named all of my Pokemon after baseball players. So they're all named after nationals, except for my Kingler, whose name is Scott, who's named after Scott Kingery, who plays for the Phillies, because my friend Sean's a big Phillies fan, and he donated to my Extra Life, which, by the way, to speak of that, I did end up raising $800 for Extra Life this year. So thank you very much to everyone who donated for that. That was extremely cool of you. But God, I mean, just like it's they turned a lot of classic Pokemon game tropes sort of on their head a little bit. Like there's not really a villainous team. Like there is a team and they're kind of antagonistic, Team Yell, but they're just like fucking hooligans. Like they just show up and they're supporting this one challenger in the gym challenge, and they're just trying to get in your way, and they're just, they have their horns and they just like yell at you. And
so they sound like college booster parents, basically.
I mean, they're styled like soccer hooligans, basically.
Okay. Well, okay, that makes sense considering the setting.
It's based in
England.
Britain.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So, and so the whole, like, in Sun and Moon, they eschewed the 8 gym badges, and instead you have these island trials and whatnot, and that was kind of cool. And this gen, we're going back to 8 gym badges, but it's styled like a league. Like the Pokemon League is actually a league, and like gym battles are sporting events, and the atmosphere created by having this take place basically on a pitch. And I think they actually call it a pitch in the game. And like you can hear the crowd cheering for you. The gym battle theme is so fucking hype, man. Like it's so cool. And it changes when the gym leader like Dynamaxes their Pokemon. Like the crowd goes nuts for that. And it's just like, it's so cool. And like, I don't know how they're going to top that moving forward. It's just like, okay, cool. Like you made it an actual like high key professional sporting event. I don't know where you go from there in terms of hype level.
Now, I had heard from some folks that they didn't enjoy the gyms in this one as much. Like there was less like kind of dungeony aspects of the gym, and it was just more about just like fighting, just like running in a straight line, fighting Pokemon trainers and just making your way to the gym leader, essentially.
No, I mean, so there's each gym has like a gym trial basically before you can face off against the leader. And in some of them, yes, you do have to like face off against other trainers. And then in others, it's like, okay, you have to like herd all of these Wooloo into the pen at the end, and you have to like navigate an area without falling through the floor. There's one where it's like you're almost in like a amusement park ride and you have to like turn certain ways and it's like a big pinball machine. And you have to get through that in order to get to the end. So they definitely mixed it up. I would say they mixed it up in the gyms more in this gen than they ever did in previous generations.
Okay.
The wild area, the open area is really cool. They definitely kept some things from the Let's Go games that people really liked, like being able to see the Pokemon on the overworld before you initiate a battle with a wild Pokemon. Couple drawbacks, I would say the fucking draw distance is terrible. Holy shit, the draw distance in this game is bad. And that's something like you can't escape. Like you're constantly being reminded of how bad the draw distance is.
So is it objectively bad, or is it we've seen Breath of the Wild and it's shitty compared to that, basically?
It's objectively bad.
Okay.
Like there are some things where it's like you like, particularly in the wild area, there will be NPCs that pop up and whatnot. And there are times where it's like you almost have to be directly on top of them for them to have actually spawned in front of you. And that's not good. Also, there's not really any end game content. It's like you beat the league, you become the new champion. And then there's like
wait, there's no Elite Four?
No, they do it as a tournament, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
So in the tournament, you're facing off against some of your rivals from earlier, as well as facing off against some of the gym leaders again, who have updated teams. And I thought that was kind of a cool way to do it. That's more along the lines of like treating it again like a league, like a playoff, basically. But yeah, there's like a post-game thing that maybe it takes like 2 hours tops. And that's fine. And then after that, it's just like have fun in the wild area, catching Pokemon. And like if you want to be that guy, there's a battle tower that you can take, but I've never been that person. So
are you comfortable like ranking it amongst the other games that you've played? Like where would you say it sits? I mean, it's kind of hard because you're still basking in the afterglow a little bit.
It's so fresh and like I did enjoy it a lot. Like there wasn't really anything about it that I was like super disappointed about or anything like that. I would say it particularly with the way the wild area works, like it seems like sort of a stepping stone into what will be Pokemon moving forward, that we will probably be treated to much more of like this open world wild area sort of game. Some of the towns I thought were small and uninteresting. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it a lot. My favorite gen will always be Gen 2. Like nothing will ever be better than Gen 2. It has 2 regions in it. Like it's still the only game to have more than 1 region in it. And I think it's held up better than any other game in the series. But yeah, I mean, it was a ton of fun. Took me a solid 25-30 hours to get through everything, and that's fine. That's pretty standard for a Pokemon title. And yeah,
very cool.
At this point, like I almost kind of want to finish out the Pokedex. Like I want to chat with people who are playing Shield so that I can get some of the Shield exclusives. But yeah, all of the rival characters I thought were really good. They made the supporting cast really, really good in this game. So it's definitely got that going for it. Okay. So yeah,
you'll be proud of me. You'll be proud of me. I have nothing new to talk about this week. I will have something new to talk about next week because I got Outer Worlds on sale. And I traded a bunch of. I had like 6 PS4 controllers for no reason.
That's too many.
I didn't pay for almost any of them. So like, but fair. they were just sitting here. So I traded all those in and got Outer Worlds for $40. So we'll see if we like it. And if not, I don't really care because it was found money. So that's all well and good. Speaking of games that you're not going to care whether you like them or not because they're free, it's a new month, so that means we have new free games from both PlayStation and Xbox to check out. On Xbox One, for the entire month of December, you get Insane Robots for free. And then from December 16th through January 15th, you get Jurassic World Evolution, which I believe is like the Jurassic World like park builder game, essentially, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay,
So,
I'm looking at these games and I'm like, this just looks like trash. This like all of this.
yeah.
It all looks like trash.
Well, so the 360 games that are for free. So from December 1st through 15th, you get the Xbox 360 Toy Story 3, which is actually a very highly critically acclaimed game, if you weren't aware. My wife loved it. She had it on PlayStation 3 and thought it was excellent. And then from the 16th through the 31st, you get Castlevania, Lords of Shadow, Mirror of Fate HD, which I do believe is Symphony of the Night and something else. I don't remember. Wait, maybe it's not. Maybe I'm thinking of something else because it does say Lords of Shadow, so it might actually be like side-scrolling Lords of Shadow games. I don't know. Either way, it's free on Xbox this month. PlayStation, you fare a little bit better. Titanfall 2 is one of the most critically acclaimed games of this generation. So if you haven't played Titanfall 2 yet, you have no excuse. It is going to be free for the month of December.
I was just looking at the other one. And I was like,
Monster Energy Supercross. If you're going to give people something really good, then you have to give them something really whatever to balance that out. So those two games are free if you're on PlayStation. I will definitely download Titanfall 2 because I am tired of people telling me how excellent that game is, the campaign is. And we'll definitely check that out.
Cool.
Two other new releases this week. You have Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And then Assassin's Creed, the Rebel Collection, comes to the Nintendo Switch. I do believe this is Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, and Assassin's Creed Rogue. And maybe the PS Vita Assassin's Creed as well. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I think it's definitely the first two.
Yes, I know for sure it's the first two. I think Liberation might also be in that disc collection as well, but don't quote me on that. So that is your new release lineup for this week.
Cool. And don't forget to, if you're not already watching us on YouTube, to check out youtube.com/densepixels and subscribe. We have new clips every week, and the clips are mostly just the full show on YouTube. It's like we say clips, but
I should probably we used to do clips, and then they didn't get enough views, so we just stopped doing clips. So now we just post the whole show, and that seems to do just fine.
Stopped wasting our time.
Yeah.
And if you want to waste more of your time with us, you can go to densepixels.com/premium. Subscribe to the TNP Studios premium content for $5 a month or $50 for the whole year, and that gives you access to the entire premium slate of podcasts, including The Airing of Grievances, No Time to Bleed, full episodes of the Look Forward podcast, and The Men with the Golden Tongues. And I saved that for last because y'all are doing a tournament-style ranking of the James Bond theme songs. And I find it wholly unfair that you would have put Dr. No on there at all. Because that's the winner. That one wins.
No, well, so I thought about that because Dr. No opens with just the James Bond theme, which the James Bond theme is as close to perfect as a song as you're gonna get.
It's iconic. Everyone knows it.
But my thought process was they also have the transition into this like calypso version of Three Blind Mice during the beginning credits as well. And so they since they kind of blend into one another, like that, it's one song to me. So I'm hoping that the addition of the Three Blind Mice thing, kind of.
I don't think that's going to sway anyone away from it.
Well, but again, we're just doing the initial seeds. Me and Micah will have to argue which is the best.
That one's the best.
I don't know if it's the best because, like I said, the Three Blind Mice thing is.
I mean, look,
is whatever.
Are we talking about this as far as legacy, as far as influence, as far as memorability, or are we talking about this on musicality terms? Because that's a whole different thing.
We'll see. It's completely fluid.
You'll have to subscribe to TNP premium content to find out.
We were
forget
just to quickly interrupt on that too.
Yeah.
We were thinking the best way to figure out a tiebreaker for this, because I feel like me and Mike are going to disagree on this topic more than most topics, because music is completely subjective, obviously. We might have to bring a third person in.
Is it going to be me?
Someone who is very musically inclined.
I wonder who that might be.
who probably has
arranging an XCOM 2 medley for her orchestra. I wonder. That's going to be lit, by the way. Anyway, you can subscribe to that, but you can also subscribe to all of the TNP Studios podcasts wherever you get your podcasts, and that includes Coming Distractions, Black on Black Cinema, The Nerdpocalypse, and the weekly preview episode of Look Forward, and of course, Dense Pixels.
Well, but
the show worth listening to.
They're already here. They've already subscribed. If you're listening to this and you haven't subscribed yet, what is wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
It takes just click it. Just click the button.
Let me tell you something else. Since it's a 2-man booth and these shows tend to go quick anyway, we have some time to tangent real quick. So I really enjoyed Knives Out, and I did the review for Coming Distractions. I think I might have underrated the movie during Coming Distractions. I was not.
You rated it a 4, right?
Yeah.
I would have rated it higher. I would have rated it a 4.5.
Interesting.
At least.
Interesting. I did not see everyone once it came out in the public, everyone like raving about it, because it's also like a genre movie. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that's the other thing that's also kind of surprising, is that it's, if you're not really into mysteries. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like mystery as a genre is something that like everyone can sort of get into on some sort of level. Because like once a well-written mystery sort of like has its hooks in you like a little bit, you're in for the whole ride. Like you're gonna stick it out. You're gonna want to know who did what and how.
But this also had the strangest act 2 of any mystery
that
I've ever seen that I can think of. And we're not. Don't worry. We're not gonna verge into spoiler territory.
No.
Yeah, but I don't know. The overwhelming positivity that folks are coming at it with surprised me, because like I liked it a lot. I just wasn't expecting people to be like, "This is the best movie of the year." I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know about that, but it's pretty good.
At least as far as what I've seen. But Jay also sent me to a lot of shit this year. So
that's true. Like I said, I don't go often, but when I go, I make sure I go to the ones that are going to be. Yeah.
Meanwhile, next week I get to go see Cats. So
that'll be an episode of Coming Distractions. That'll definitely be worth. Tuning into. Why do I have the feeling that it could be the return of Carrie with wine in hand?
Oh, wine Carrie on the.
Do that shit again. So we'll get into the news real quick. So look, I was not aware that the servers for Battleborn were still up, because I wasn't aware that anyone played it.
That Battleborn ever actually came out.
It did. I mean, it didn't do very well, obviously.
No.
But the servers are still active for Battleborn, allegedly. But not for long. They're going to be taken down in January of 2021, which will make the game completely unplayable. One could argue that it was unplayable when it released, but, that's neither here nor there.
I'm sure dozens of people are devastated.
And Gearbox said they will be disabling online microtransaction purchases for the game on February 24th of next year, and it has already been pulled from online storefronts, so you can't accidentally purchase the game thinking, this Borderlands 3 was very good. What else has Gearbox made that I'd like to play? What's this Battleborn here? Let me check that out. Nope, they've already pulled it down. So if you did not own it already, too bad, so sad. You will continue being able to not play Battleborn, as 99.9999999% of the gaming world has been so far. Stadia Pro subscribers are going to get Farming Simulator 19 and Tomb Raider for free in December as part of their Stadia Pro membership. So currently,
for the dozens of people enjoying their Stadia.
Well, I wouldn't say they're enjoying it, Carrie. Right now, Destiny 2
you got me there,
and Samurai Showdown are available for free. If you have Stadia Pro, you already now have access to Farming Simulator 19 and Tomb Raider. If you already paid for those games before this happened, Google will apparently refund you your purchase. So that's good, I guess. If you bought 2013 Tomb Raider on Google Stadia, they'll give you back your $19.99 that you paid for it. So 2 more games to round out the robust Stadia Pro lineup. Updates come out for Super Mario Maker 2 that allows you to play as Link in the game.
Like actually play as Link, like actually use the sword and the shield and the bombs and whatnot, because earlier you could use like an amiibo to get like a Link costume,
right? But
it
was just the skin,
flavor,
right? Basically.
Yeah. But now you can actually play as Link in Mario Maker. So that's kind of cute.
Yeah, the screenshots that are linked in or the little GIFs that are linked in this article on Kotaku makes Link look completely OP. He's running around the world just tearing through shit, like he's literally like jumping through a stack of spinies with his sword coming down and just running through some piranha plants and blocking the little spiky balls from the dude that spits up the spiky balls and throws them at you. I can't remember what his actual name is.
I forget. I just know that that guy specifically gave me a whole rack of shit in Link's Awakening.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
That sucks.
Free update for Mario Maker, by the way. You don't have to pay for that. This is a story that you added to the docket that I had not seen.
Cool. Yeah, a lot of people haven't seen it, but in my line of work, this is big news. I follow collectibles for a living. I report on collectibles. I write books about collectibles. I have many books about collectibles that you can buy on our Amazon link. But yes, so Heritage Auctions, touted as the world's largest collectibles auctioneer, partnered a year ago or so, somewhere in there, with the WADA grading service, which I have used several times for the sake of transparency. I know the guy who founded WADA, but they're a professional grading company similar to how CGC works for comic books or how Beckett works for trading cards. So they're grading video games. And a 9.4 A+ copy of the original Mega Man, sealed in box with an A+ rating on the quality of the seal. And this is important because this is a first release. This is like the very first run, which typoed Dr. Wily's name on the back as Dr. Wright. There's very few of these out there, particularly very few of these still in the box, still sealed and still in this kind of condition. And it sold for $75,000 at auction last week.
That's insane.
That's a lot.
For Mega Man.
There have been some 6-figure video game results before. And by some I think I mean one. Yeah, like a handful maybe.
Wasn't that like was it like world class like track and field or whatever the hell it's called?
You were thinking of stadium events. Yes. So stadium events was re-released, I believe, as world-class track and field. The original stadium events was only on shelves for like 3 hours or something like that before it was pulled and all the carts were rebranded.
Okay.
I'm trying to log into my Heritage account right now just so that I can
already. So according to, I'm looking at an article. I don't have cool insider connections.
Anyone can create a Heritage account.
The stadium events can go for. It's gone between $2,600 and $41,000.
Yes.
For NES.
Yep.
Even just the box can get you $10,000, which blows my mind.
Yeah, because it was something. It was like a really low. I can't remember my goddamn Heritage login. So whatever, but it's it's nuts. And this is sort of what happens with the advent of grading services, is that you're having games verified, you're having them graded, you're having them encapsulated, and now you're having them hit the auction block at high tier collectibles auctions, which is a very recent development when it comes to video games. There's just there's not that many people doing this right now. WADA is really the go-to grading service on the market right now. They are not the first people to do grading, but I would say they're the first people to do it correctly. Various other top dollar items in this auction. So Mega Man by far took by $60,000 took the top spot here. But you had a 9.8 A plus copy of Super Mario Brothers for 19,200. A copy of Contra for 14,500. A copy of Ice Climbers 9.2 for 13,200, and a Stadium Events 6.0 for $11,700. So yeah, if you're not paying attention to the rise of graded video games and collectible video games, you're making a mistake, I think, at this point. I have started to get things in my collection graded purely for posterity's sake. I actually have one right here. Hold on.
It's just insane to me.
Yeah.
That
so I got my copy of Golden Sun graded. It's a 7.5, which is honestly incredible given that I bought this game when I was 11 and just kept this good care of it. But it's totally encapsulated. It's sealed up. Nothing will get through this case. It's not going to oxidize in there or anything like that. But I did it because, I mean, obviously with this is my favorite game. But I wanted to have graded copies of them just from like my dumb hoarder brain collector perspective. But I think you're going to start seeing more and more people buy into video games as collectibles, because you're starting to see people who don't really, maybe never even really played video games, starting to buy them at these high dollar auctions because they're starting to see them as an investment, and they're trying to get in on this now before the prices really start to go up, after people start to realize what a market this is. So this is going to be extremely interesting to follow.
So this tells me a couple things. Number one, I sold my complete copy of Earthbound for SNES far too soon.
Yep.
If only I'd waited 6 years, then we could have possibly made even more money by getting it graded. That would have been amazing. Yep. This is insane. I'm still having trouble wrapping my head around the dollar amount and the potential of investment for Mega Man. So just to give you why this boggles my mind. So like one of the rarest like Rolex references is a Rolex Submariner that was produced in the 1960s. It's the model number 6538. It was the first James Bond watch. A very good one, like a good condition one, would easily go for like around between $90,000 and $100,000. But that's for like a wristwatch that, you know, with an incredible amount of historical significance and heritage, and it's something that still, you know, you can use and things like you would buy that watch and you would wear it. You wouldn't wear it like, you know, as a beater, but you would still, you know, take it out on special occasions, stuff like that. This copy of Mega Man is just going to sit inside of this container.
Sure.
And
there's certainly a point to be had about that. Like I'm only getting games graded that I know I'm not going to play that specific cartridge ever again. Right. It's not like I'm not going to play Golden Sun ever again, but I have a different cartridge that's beat to hell that I'll play whenever. It's interesting. The difference, I think, is at least with games that are not sealed, I believe WADA offers a service where they can scan and dump the ROM off off of like an old NES cart, and you can play that ROM whenever you want. Like, you don't necessarily lose your game because they've dumped the ROM off the cartridge before encapsulating it. And you might see that start to happen with other cartridge-based games. Obviously, you're not going to be able to do that with a CD-based game.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's the same thing that people, it's the same criticism people have of grading comic books. Once it's in the slab, you can't read it anymore. But once it's in the slab, nothing can happen to it. So it's this sort of balancing act of, okay, with a game like Mega Man. The original Mega Man launched a significant gaming franchise. Mega Man's an iconic character for Capcom and for video gaming at large. This particular run with the villain typo on the back is like any time you get a misprint on anything, really, whether it's in comic books or on trading cards or anything like that, that always causes people to want that because they want the one with the mistake on it before the mistake was fixed.
Oh, of course.
The
most famous example being the
Oh.
Billy Ripken fuckface card, of
Oh,
course.
Billy Ripken. He got all the personality and Cal got all the talent. But yeah, it's, again, this is going to be the kind of thing where if you're at all interested in the secondary market for video games, this sort of thing is something to really pay close attention to. So yeah, I've got a handful of games graded, and I'm basically just waiting for the next time I see these guys at a convention to just hand them another box of my stuff. So
this last story,
see.
This last story is the biggest story of the week. It just kind of broke before we sat down and recorded. I'm going to let Carrie take the reins on this one as well.
Sure. So we've talked before about how Riot Games is full of chuds, and last year, Kotaku did their deep dive, an incredible investigative journalistic piece into the sort of bro culture at Riot Games. And as of ruled today, Riot will be paying out at least $10 million to the women who have worked at Riot over the last 5 years. The payout is part of a gender discrimination lawsuit filed by 2 Riot employees, one current and one former, who sought unpaid wages as well as damages and other penalties. They alleged Riot of violating the California Equal Pay Act. The Riot announced that they settled back in August, but the proposed settlement was filed today. Around 1,000 female employees will be eligible for a share of that payout, depending on tenure, length, and status. So, good.
Yeah, that's a pretty significant chunk of change. Now, I just did the quick calculations. If all 1,000 employees were to get an equal share, it would be $10,000 per employee. Now, obviously, I guess tenure and things of that nature are gonna weigh into that as well. I'm gonna be interested to see what the reaction to this story is over the course of the couple of days, because, like I said, we're just kind of landing in the middle of it in this LA Times report that came out,
Right.
And we'll see what happens with that. I feel like it's almost too early to be commenting on this because we haven't seen the reaction.
This is mostly us just reporting on it as
Right.
it broke. But ultimately, Kotaku, we talked about it when Kotaku released their investigation last year. And it was pretty damning because you had a lot of folks at the company, corroborating each other's stories and whatnot. And Riot said that they were going to do better. Whether or not they've actually done better, I think is still up for debate. Because I think Kotaku sort of followed up with some folks who were still at the company, and it seemed that people were saying that, like, yeah, the higher ups are still, it seems like they're just kind of waiting for this to blow over and for people to forget about this. And yeah, I mean, I hope that this sort of payout sets a precedence in the gaming industry that that sort of culture isn't going to be fucking tolerated anymore.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause it's bullshit. Like this whole like bro frat boy kind of culture that seems to permeate particularly the development end of the industry sucks.
Mm.
And there's got to be an end to it at some point.
Well, here's my question though. Like, do you really think that Riot has already turned over a new leaf, or is this just kind of just throwing money at the problem to make it go away, of sorts?
I think that they know that they still have a lot of eyes on them,
mm-hmm.
And that they will have to turn over a new leaf in one way or another. But I also think that they're trying to throw money at the problem and make it go away.
Right, because I would imagine that this settlement also comes with somewhat of a NDA, I guess, where these women will not be able to speak publicly against the company in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we'll have to see.
We will. Like I said, we'll have to wait to see what more news comes of this settlement here. So
yep.
Very good.
Cool.
But yes, that is the news for this week. Before we get into the post office, Carrie, tell us how you can give us money. Riot Games could be going to give us some cash.
Yeah.
Even though we were not harassed by them.
No. You can, as I mentioned earlier, I have books about collecting, and you can buy them through Amazon. So you can not just give me good reviews on Amazon, but go to densepixels.com/Amazon and buy my books. And then we get a little bit of that dosh, because I don't get royalties for my books being sold on Amazon. No. I get a paycheck every other week for writing books. But Dense Pixels can get some of that if you go to our densepixels.com/Amazon. You just shop as normal. It's the holiday season. What would be better for the gamer in your life than the delightful stocking stuffer that is the Overstreet Guide to Collecting Video Games, which will give you the context you need to understand why the hell a copy of Mega Man would sell for $75,000. So go ahead and do that and buy your holiday presents, or just get something for yourself. We don't care.
We'll see it though. We don't know who.
We will see it.
We don't know who bought it, but we'll see it that it got bought.
Yeah.
So, but yes, very good. Yes, densepixels.com/Amazon, because Jeff Bezos doesn't need the money. He's good. So
yep.
We'll go right to Dense Pixels Post Office. We'll start with Amir, who is the new owner of an Oculus Quest. He says, What is the best VR experience that you've had? He wants to show his dad VR when he goes home for the holidays.
I don't really play VR because I don't find it comfortable. Because I have bad eyesight, and putting a VR headset over top of my glasses isn't fun. So I am not the person to ask.
So I said it on this podcast before when I had my Quest. Super Hot was the thing that made VR click for me. And especially and on the Quest in particular, because Super Hot in VR is a game that very much benefits from not being tethered to a station of some kind, and having the free range of movement is kind of makes that game really excel. So I would say Super Hot VR might be the thing that you want to show your dad if you want to show him the power of the VR experience. Andy asks, what are your least favorite things about Micah and Terrence?
Let's see. I don't like that Terrence is never on time for recording.
I don't like that Terrence can out apathy me. That makes me upset. I always came up as being the person that can muster the most apathy in the entire world, and Terrence is able to overdo even what I'm able to muster in terms of not caring about things. I care very much about the fact that Terrence doesn't care about things more than I do. So that bothers me.
Okay. So Micah, I'll dig up some old shit. I don't like that he didn't give me a +1 to his wedding when his wedding was like 7 states away. I thought that was bullshit.
I don't like the fact.
And that's why I didn't go, because he didn't give me a +1 and I was not going to fly by myself.
I don't like the fact that Micah is somehow able to perfectly straddle the line between being incredibly conceited but also ridiculously humble at the same time. I hate that shit. He's able to self-deprecate constantly, talk about how he sucks at video games. Micah doesn't suck at video games. Micah's very good at video games. But then meanwhile, Micah will also talk about how he's like the most attractive, handsome son of a bitch walking the face of the planet. He'll do both things. And people just accept it. People don't realize that he's actually an asshole. But it's true. It's because he's charming. He's a charming son of a bitch.
He's got that perfect timbre to his voice that just makes people fall for whatever bullshit comes out of his mouth.
So yeah,
I don't trust him.
That's what we like least about Micah and Terrence. So Gaston says, gaming moment you're looking forward to sharing with your son the most. I guess this is directed at me. Whether it's a moment in a game or something more generic.
My son's a cat.
Yeah, well, I mean, you might be able to share some quaint gaming moments with Ganon and other cat whose name I don't remember off the top of my head right now.
Zelda.
Okay, well, there you go. That makes perfect sense. So look, I'm most looking forward to my son just experiencing video games at some point. I've talked about on the show before. My son is autistic. So video games has not been something that he has taken to yet, but I feel like perhaps down the road that could be. He likes video games, but he likes watching me play video games and not necessarily messing with them himself. So I'm hoping one day, that he will show an interest in actually playing games, and that alone will be a great moment, for me when that does eventually happen. Leonardo says, why did you kick the people off who enjoyed the Star Wars game off of the show?
Because he's an asshole.
That's right. Because I'm a jerk, and I wanted to talk about Pokemon to see if I had to get it. No, they both had other things that they had to do. Mike, I'm sure, had a baby-related emergency, and Terrence has something else going on. Trey says, which game or games do you really like, but in a different gameplay style than the one it has? For example, Jedi Fallen Order as a DMC-esque character action game than the Dark Souls-esque game it is? So I'm
a little confused by this
I know,
question.
I am too. I guess Trey's asking, hypothetically, would we like to see a game that exists that we want to like, but we don't like the gameplay, but if it was a different style of game, we would like it more? Perhaps? That's a tough one.
I don't know.
I
don't really know.
Yeah, because I mean, typically I evaluate games as they are, rather than what I wish they would be. I mean, it would be cool to see like Borderlands doing a more MMO style game, like more of a Destiny style game than they currently do, but it would completely change what Borderlands is. So I don't know if that would actually be cool or not. That's a tough question to answer. Cause like I said, the games are what they are, and we evaluate them based on, what they are, not what we wish they were.
Right.
Instead. Anthony says, if you could reset your memory of playing a game so that you could go play it again for the first time, essentially, which game would you choose and why? And also, do you think that we'll eventually get Portal 3?
No.
Short and to the point. I mean, the brains behind that franchise doesn't work at Valve anymore, so Carrie's probably right.
Portal and Portal 2 are both very good games. I think it would be cool if maybe they released a collection on contemporary consoles with maybe some additional maps, additional puzzles. But no, I don't think we will ever get a Portal 3. If I could reset my memory of playing a game so I could go back and do it fresh, I'd probably want to do Breath of the Wild again.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I've answered this question before, and I think the answer for me is the original Metal Gear Solid.
Okay.
Which was a mind-blowing experience for me because it was the first game of its ilk that I'd ever really played before. So that would probably be it, I would think. Johnny asks, question for me, since Carrie's favorite game to stream is Golden Sun.
I've been streaming Pokemon.
What would be your likely game to stream annually for a charity? Look, if I ever did Extra Life, if I was ever able to do it, it would probably just be me playing Destiny for 24 hours, which would be a ton of Destiny.
I mean, hey, at least you're being honest.
I mean, look, what else am I gonna do for 24 hours?
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, literally anything else with your life. I don't know.
Or what else am I gonna play? I should say, because like if you're gonna do it, like you would either want to do a game like that has sort of an unending amount of content you could tap into, or something that you can beat in that time span, but it has to kind of be exactly in that time span. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I need to get back into streaming more regularly. I really want to start streaming Fallout New Vegas because I've been really wanting to play New Vegas again. Because Outer Worlds scratched that itch a little bit, but like not enough. And I want to go be a profligate in the Nevada wasteland. So,
and
true to Kaisar.
Finally, we will end it with Bryant, who asks, what kinds of characters do you look to as a main when it comes to fighting games in terms of their fighting style? And what are your top 5 fighting games of all time? Not the question for Carrie.
I don't play fighting games. I am not good at fighting games.
So I'll answer the second question for Carrie. Super Smash Brothers Brawl, Super Smash Brothers Melee, Super Smash Brothers... Super Smash Brothers Ultimate would be probably number 1. Then Melee...
and then Multi-Blood.
There you go. I don't even know what that is. So, fair enough. What do I look for in terms of main? So, I mean, the only fighting game that I play at great length is the Street Fighter franchise, and I'm a Shoto guy. I play Shotos almost exclusively. That control style, that that move execution style, just makes sense to me. In terms of like fighting style, I need a character that has a strong cross-up game, because that's kind of how I play Street Fighter. So obviously, like, I tend to go with like Sakura, Ken, characters like that, basically. When I play Street Fighter, top 5 fighting games of all time is really difficult. I guess number 1 would probably have to be, the end edition of Street Fighter 4 ended up being. Second, I would say would be Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo from back when. Golly, that's a tough one because, see, like I said, now we're getting. I would, believe it or not, I would put Tekken 3 third for me. I really did enjoy the Tekken 3 way back in the day. Fourth, I really like the original Blaze Blue when it came out. I didn't stick with the franchise past that first game, but I played the shit out of the original Blaze Blue when that dropped on PS3. And then I guess Street Fighter V would end up in the top 5 somewhere. I'd love to put like an NRS game in there, but they just don't speak to me. I play those games for like 3 or 4 weeks and then never touch them or think about them again. So that's, all the Mortal Kombats, both Injustices, like I never mess with those. And Smash Brothers is more of a like passing dalliance to me than anything that I ever sat down and played with any. Smash Brothers is a party
game that some people take too seriously.
Right. That is probably the best way to describe Smash Brothers that you could describe it. So
yeah.
Thank you guys, because we literally put the post office up right before we started recording. So I was happy to see that we got 6 or 7 questions in there. So appreciate that on the short notice. And believe it or not, that is it for this week. So a bit of a shorter show, because there just wasn't a lot of news to talk about. So make sure that you are in our fan group, densepixels.com. denspixels.com/fans. Wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you subscribe to this show as well as the other TNP Studio shows. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/denspixels. Go to denspixels.com/premium to sign up for premium content. And Carrie wants to get back to streaming. You can find her on Twitch at SuppetsCarrie. Terrence is Apparition410. And if I ever stream again, we'll see, maybe one day, possibly, it'll be on the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. So as long as you subscribe there, you'll be good to go. Thank you, Carrie. Under the weather, but still coming through in the clutch tonight. And
doing what I can, man.
And we will see you all the next time.
Thanks.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.